My name is Peter Nguka. I am a member of the Christian Union, just to start with. I'm a fourth year student of economics. Yeah, I am just starting my second semester on Monday. So my very last semester here at the University of Nairobi. So I have been serving as the chairperson for the University of Nairobi Student Association main campus, or if you like, the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. And in addition, I've served in the main campus Christian Union in the executive committee. I previously served as the Sunday service coordinator. Then last year, I also served as the ASAP coordinator. So that is Peter Nguka for you.
Wow, I don't know if you all have leadership positions like that. That is giving us stress over here. As you have seen from the title of the podcast, today we're going to be talking about politics and how us as Christians we can approach politics and effectively participate in the political system. Ruth, have you ever tried politics? Primary, high school, university?
Well, I'm not too sure if nursery, primary and high school we would call it politics because it was more of being nominated, you get. So, but if we all call it politics, I was a politician when I was in nursery school. I was a politician.
What did you buy for?
See, being the president, I'm on the line, the person who makes sure the line is straight. Yeah, but was it even formal? Just being a prefect when you're in nursery school, and then going to primary. I was a prefect in class 1, class 2, and many more until class 8. Then high school, I drew the line. But then when it comes to university, that's where politics becomes a dirty game. And I just keep off. If it's not nomination, if it's campaigning, no thank you.
We'll get back to you later when you said politics is a dirty game. I saw
Come on.
Peter Nguka was like, are you sure? Kenga, ulikuwa school president?
Not really. I wasn't the school president.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Were you in any okay, let me not call it political position, but I'm saying political because in our school you actually had to vie and campaign.
Just like ours.
So did you get into it, or you were just a voter?
Actually, in primary school, I wasn't just a voter. In primary school, it was nomination, as just said.
Mm-hmm.
But I think our era ended in 2016 when we had the Matiang'i era. Then we had politics, even in primary school. You had to vie. So actually, I remember I vied in class 8. I was the speaker of our school. When I went to high school, I was like, hey, I've been talkative enough. Let me keep quiet. But after some time, that nature in you just keeps popping up and it just pops up. So I started vying when I was in Form 2. I became a leader. Form 3, at Form 4, I think God said, enough is enough for your leadership. I was just appointed to go back to church. So in Form 4, I dwelt more in church.
Which position were you in Form 2?
In Form 2, I remember very well I was the overall. In campus, we're calling them halls. Hey, in high school, we used to call them dormitories. So I was the overall head in our school. In Form 3, I was the Secretary General. Then in Form 4, I quit. I went back to be the chairperson of the CA.
Hey!
So that was how.
Pressure is getting worse.
Hey, Becky,
You quit.
You have something lined up. She was a speaker in our school, Secretary General.
And then he quits and becomes the chairperson of the team.
When God calls you, just go back to him, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Ezekiel Mutua.
Hey, maybe you can give which high school are you in?
I was in Kenyatta High School.
Oh, Kenyatta High School,
okay.
Matate.
Kenyatta High School. We call it Kenya High School, of course.
Kenya High School.
Kenny.
Oh, Kenny. Kenny.
Hey, Kenya High School is for the other Kenya.
Oh, that's nice. Before we get to Peter here, Becky, how has your leadership journey been like?
I think for me in primary and uko chini kidogo, it was a lot of nomination and appointments. But when we got to high school, I nilijaribu once nikashindwa, and it really sikutaka kujaribu.
It was the one you campaign. and everything.
Yeah.
Which form?
Was that Form 2? Form 2 going to Form 3. I think I wanted to be the academic secretary, and I campaigned a lot. Ground ilikuwa imekubali, but I don't know what happened. So that was really hard on me, and I put a pause on my political kind of leadership at that point, but I was still serving in appointed and nominated positions.
In the school or in the CU?
Yeah, in school.
You are nominated too?
I served in the CU, and also served in Red Cross, and what was the other thing? And sports. I played a bit of lawn tennis, so I was the captain for 1 year.
Mbona kuchezangi lawn tennis, but that is another story for another day. Before we get to Peter and we ask him whether this leadership just started in campus or at Kanga. I saw Peter had posted a TBT photo of him at Kanga. It was very tiny, very small. I was like, did this person start this leadership from Kitambo, or it just came? But for me, I guess my story is still the same. In primary, it was more of I tried vying for class prefect. Nilikuwa appointed. Vying. Kuna time nilipata 0 votes, 1 vote. Class yetu ilikuwa manyokes.
Hadi desk tumetoka kukuvotia.
Wa.
Hadi yeye kujivuta.
I know.
Yeah, then in class 7, I think there was a time my class teacher appointed me to be the class prefect, but my parents refused, saying, oh, you need to study, blah, blah, blah. So class 8 was just that. I think the only leadership position in quotes that I can say was just peer teaching, It was a social studies peer teacher and peer teacher of English. Well, that was a big deal. In high school, I think peer teacher si yule mwenye anafundisha mwalimu kama hayuko.
Oh, so panelists. In our high school, we used to call them panelists.
Panelists.
Looks
Yeah.
like you're the best in that class.
Yeah,
I
I love teaching. Actually, I think I'll still be a teacher in my life. Not in my afterlife, I think I'll still be a teacher. In high school, I also served in the CU. I think from Form 1 to Form 4, different positions. But politics, real politics, I tried being a class prefect in Form 1, it failed. Form 2, I got 1 vote. I didn't even know who voted for me because I didn't vote. I don't know who voted for me. But that was Form 2. I tried also being a house prefect. It failed. It dipped. I got 11 votes at least in a house of 300 and something people. I got 11 votes. 11 votes is a big deal.
I'm ulikuwa na nyuma na bucket. Like,
See, actually, they started propaganda. This is now, Peter will tell us about the dirty politics. So in Form 3, now this is a propaganda. Now I'll merge it with Form 4. See, Form 3, I told you I tried vying for house prefect. I got 11 votes. So before that, I was the ideal candidate to be the house prefect. But then my competitor started spreading rumors that Karega, in our school they assumed for you to be house prefect lazima ungekuwa mtough. Form 1s to listen to you. So they started saying, huyu Karega atapatanga Form 1s hawajaosha dom, anakuja na waombea.
encourage.
Yeah, imagine. They started saying, Karega ni msofty, atakuwa Form 1s atakuwa nenda CU kabla kuja meeting ya house, sijui nini. And they started using me being in CU to discredit me, saying that I won't be able to do the job because apparently I'm soft. Previously those prefects who could give punishments and everything, and they're very strict and they would shout. Form 1s were called jokers in our school. So ule prefect would say, "Hey, joker! Anaosha cubicle 4B ni nani?" You see, but me, I'm not that person. Me, I wouldn't go and shout and everything. But I was the most qualified because I had washed the cubicles. I was a cubicle cleaner, so I had experience. To be honest,
That's qualification.
I was the best cubicle cleaner in Form 1.
Wow.
And in Form 2, I was the best toilet cleaner.
Whoa. What are we saying?
So I knew how people would feel. I knew what the washers needed, the cleaners needed to make their work better. I knew how to to arrange it and make the work seamless and everything. The person who got elected, I hope you're not
Toilet
watching
cleaner.
this. Hata hajai osha dom, hajai guza, alikuwa librarian. You know, so in our school there used to be people called librarians. So the first exam you do in Form 1, if you become top 30, you work in the library and you'll never work anywhere else.
Wow.
Imagine. Yani
Good
wewe tu
school for you.
kwenda library kupanga mavitabu. Hakuna kuguza dormitory and everything, no washing anywhere.
So you had
And you
like
are not
120 people working in the library.
No, it's 30 the whole school.
So Form 1 proceed imeisha hivyo watangoja Form 1 wengine.
Yeah, like okay, the librarians, because you know the library is big and you need people to arrange the books, to wash the library and everything. So those ones were the ones working in the library. And you know they had privileges, you know, they could do a lot of things in the library. So sisi wengine sasa tulikuwa wakazi wa shule. Juu kupita mtihani. And you know you are a librarian from Form 1, Form 4. Of course after Form 2 you'll stop washing, but that name will be there, and you can't be a library captain if you are not a librarian. So the person who got elected to be the house prefect was a librarian. 2 librarians actually. Hawajai guza kitu, hawajai kuguza rag, hawajai nini, hawajai mashida za cleaners and everything, but now
And that's how your talent was wasted.
yeah, the dirty
After
politics.
washing toilets.
The dirty politics of
man.
Nguka, they didn't elect me because they thought I was a softie. And now in Form 3 now, when I was vying for clubs coordinator, I was still again the most preferred candidate, but a few days, so I was vying for clubs coordinator. So you know in clubs, watu shule wanapendanga clubs juu ya funky.
Hey.
Guess what the rumor was? Karega the only funky shaenda ni CU rally.
Whoa.
CU rally.
Ouch.
And that's the only, and imagine people alikuwa nenda kwa class anasema Karega the only funky ameenda tu ni CU rally. Huyo atakuwa tu anaorganizea mafunky na macrusade huku.
Door to door.
Imagine, I'm like, and I was the person who had gone to the most funkies because I was very active in different clubs, in debating, research club, in any kind of club you thought of. I was there and I was going there to win, and I was an active participant. But you know, this person told people that I'm just a CU person, you know. Nimeenda to rally and I will organize only crusades in school, and I will call even churches to come, bishops, njui nini. And apparently sijui I will katizia people raha, and I don't know what. Sijui we'll have 10 rallies in a term, every rally every week. I don't know, like it was just, I just sat down and was like, wow. It was like, God, surely is this person testing me? Because it's like saying, it's like I'm being punished for being a Christian, you know.
The second time.
Yeah, ati they also saying ati Karega ni msofty, atakuwa na pay Form 1's chance, but that one is true. Yeah, Form 1's need to be given a chance. Form 4's wanaenda basi 50 people Form 4's. Equal chances. But of course they were capitalizing on integrity. So basically they were capitalizing on my integrity. But I won, although the deputy did some things here and there.
And did you agree with him?
Because now the person who got the position, person who got a position had an indiscipline case, and alikosana na school president. So the school president went and talked to the deputy. It was like, this person cannot be, and of course the deputy loved me. And yeah, but I got the position and did things, and we went for funkies and won. My motto was, let's go to funky and win. So Peter, not to go to funky for the sake of going outside the school. Yeah. Not a funny thing, because I was saying that me I would organize CU rally, CG what. Mm-hmm. We actually that year we yes, we had a CU rally, but it was just one. And the rally we were supposed to go, we didn't even go. So if they were saying that I was just there for CU, we were not there for funkies, because we actually I was a CU official still. And we did not go for a function outside. We were waiting for a letter from Kenya High, and we waited until the year ended. Letters were coming from other schools, but we were ignoring them. Because schools around, you're like, no way. I'm going to a school in Nyeri County, and I'm studying in Nyeri. So, but it was still good. So, Peter, you can just now tell us your journey. When did you start your leadership journey? And yeah, start from there. Then we'll talk about now integrity. Actually, your team was called Team Integrity. Were you ever patronized because of having integrity? You know, funny thing in this school, you have to If you have integrity, you're as if you're a weak candidate. So tell us your leadership journey.
Thank you. You know, at the beginning I said I'm privileged to be here. And if you thought I was joking, I was never a prefect in high school. And looks like all of you are prefects in high school.
But you were Red Cross and other things.
Denominated. And that's something. So I was never a prefect.
Even
never for me.
Nothing. At a club and society.
Hata kuonewa tuna mwalimu huruma. Uka is in class.
Hata subject
Hata
lab.
wakutoa dustbin.
I don't think I had a
Hata
class.
wakufuta ubao.
Blackboard cleaner.
Nobody knew I ever existed. Well, if you saw the photo, and I loved the description of the photo. Tiny, small. I was in Form 4 my last semester in school, my last
Term, yeah.
last time in school. And that is how I was. That guy doesn't look like a prefect.
True.
Get it? So when I joined Form 1, I come to a school where people are exposed. I'm from the village, deep in the village. So I am not exposed, and I think I had self-esteem issues. So I joined a school where I feel like I am small, I'm down more than these other people. In the same class where I am, people are coming from Nairobi, and I will hear them talk about places where they come from. I don't know, Lavington, Kilimani. It's only until I joined the university that I knew what Kilimani was. That I knew what Kilimani was. I didn't know any place in Nairobi. I had never been to Nairobi. So that was me in high school. So I was never a leader. Maybe in the Christian Union, but even in the Christian Union, never a leader who can be recognized, just there.
Asha.
But you know, you can never be there like
Oh, did you say Asha?
what were you an usher? I'm on
No,
worship
high school
team.
I was compassionate leader, something
Okay.
compassionate. Yeah, but you know, such people are not, even in the Christian
Yeah,
Union,
they're not
back
the
then in high
celebs.
school, they are leaders who are recognized. I don't know, organizing sec, praise and worship leaders. So I was not a part of them. So it's until I came to campus.
But
that
did you have that desire to lead in high school?
could have been, but I think I had self-esteem issues. So I considered myself lower than other people.
So what happened?
What happened? Many people ask this question. I joined campus, I joined the Christian Union, and people think that I look like a leader when I joined the Christian Union. So I am chosen to lead the Aromas of Christ. Then I hear fellowship, and I was the anchor. It looks like I did a good job being the anchor of the Aromas of Christ. And it was a little bit unique to me because I was this talkative guy again. You know, I am in Nairobi, it's my first time ever. But I think I had some, I don't know how I can call it. Still I had some self-esteem issues because I couldn't stand before people. And I would ask people, when I'm given a chance to stand before people, I would ask people, did you see me shake? Did you see me tremble? So that is me in first year. But I think the more I did that, the more I improved. The more I did that, the more I became more confident. So then we go for a holiday because of the COVID-19 crisis. So all that time we are at home. And I think for me it was a time of self-discovery. Because that is the time that I started writing my economic related articles. And I started publishing in the Daily Nation, in the Star, and people would see this. So people would have a picture of me as this gifted person. I mean, people would post me and I would be like, guy, why are people posting me? Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, so I am somebody when people were proud of me. So I think when I came from the COVID-19 period and people came back to school, I was a different person. I was more confident. I believed that I was better and I could do something. You get it? Then I'm chosen to lead the not Aromas of Christ, but the Livingstones as their dad. So I am in charge of that orientation team, and I was doing the Daily Nation things and the Star things, and these people think that I'm a genius.
And these people, by these people, you're referring to Ruth and Becky.
To Ruth and Becky. And,
Speak to Becky directly.
Becky was a close friend. Becky
Thank
must have
you.
thought I was some genius, by the way.
Yeah, I did.
You get it?
You are
So,
her idol when I grew up.
she
Role
must have
model.
wanted to be like me.
I know.
Yeah, so they think I'm some gifted person and all that. So I think I get a lot of utility from that, and I grow in that. I talk to a lot of them, and I get a lot of contacts, and I get my fans. In politics, we call them my fans. You have a lot of my fans. People think that you're a leader, you're theirs. So I think that is now how my journey was. Now before I even thought of buying anything.
So now people have this perception of Nguka. What was Nguka thinking about himself that time? When Becky is seeing you as her role model,
And I was not even in campus.
and this one was had not joined campus.
Alikuwa bado secgen pale.
Yeah.
Chama.
So how were you thinking? What did you say? You had self-esteem issues in primary, high school. So this time, these people are telling you this, but what are you telling yourself?
You know, during that period, I get into an innovation competition, and we win the Kenyan competition and get an opportunity to attend the other one in South Africa. So I think all that made me discover who I was. I started becoming confident. If in Kenya we could win, then we could be among the 4 teams in Africa. I think for me it was like, so I am somebody, I am something. So I think I became more confident, I realized myself more, and I think I was better than I was when I joined campus.
Then now tell us about the transition from that to UNSA.
Yeah, so I joined the Christian Union. Of course, I get into the executive committee. That same time that I was their dad. So from their dad, I became the Sunday service coordinator. And I think I had bigger plans when I was the Sunday service coordinator, because I think there's something that we did that at times I remember about it. We invited the then NCIC chairperson. I think he's still the chairman of NCIC, Reverend Dr. Samuel Kobia. He's still the chairman of NCIC. I mean, for me, this person was big. It's a big figure. I don't think we had ever had such a figure in the Christian Union. And together with Cyrus, we said, man, we need to find this guy. We're like, how do we find this guy? So we contact Pauline. Pauline gets a few contacts, and we are directed to his office. But then they used to be in Brigham Towers, I think the 24th floor. So by then it was a far-fetched dream to host such a person in the Christian Union. So we get the nod to host this person. And even the then governor that I took over from Reagan, he comes to the service, man, just to be part of that service. And I'm like, okay, so man, even the governor can come. The dean of students is also part of that service. So people think that, okay, so Nguka can do something. So even people who are not part of the Christian Union were part of that service. And do you know where we had that service? Chandari Auditorium. I mean, I don't think we had a service then. I think there was one before, but I think that was now the second service in Chandari Auditorium. So it was a big thing to host the NCIC chairperson. So being in the Sunday service, I always had a larger dream. I didn't just want to do the normal things. Get it? I wanted to just call the best speakers to come on board, do something that is exceptional. So I think while I did that, and of course I was doing some stuff in the Economic Association, people started seeing something in me. There are people who had not met me and they wanted to meet this Nguka. And people started preempting that I would vie for governorship, for the gubernatorial seat. I think it is people who thought first before I even thought of myself vying. The same way of, I think I relate with the Obama story. And when Obama became the senator in 2004, there's a speech that he delivered during the 2004 Democratic Convention. That speech is always known as the speech that made Obama president. But then he was just vying as a senator for Illinois. But from that speech, when he became the senator, people started preempting that one time Obama would vie for the president. So I think the same story as mine. People started preempting, and when the time came that people were vying, the push was just too much. And I just thought, okay, all these people could not just be daydreaming. I think there's something in this. So I decided to give it a chance.
How was it when you gave it a chance? You know, you are saying it as if it's easy. Can we also just give it a chance and become an UNSA governor?
Well, like I told you my story, there were stages after stages. You don't just wake up to become the UNSA chairperson. Because even as we talk, in the next 1 month, we'll be having a new team in office. And even now, it is already too late for somebody to think of becoming the UNSA chairperson. Somebody should have thought perhaps 2 weeks or 3 weeks before today. So it's always a process. Because like I told you, I led the living strengths. I made a lot of friends. I did the orientation. I made a lot of friends. So you must have, let me call them some followers, people who believe in you. And that is the first thing in politics. People need to believe you. You need to create a perception of, you know what, you're some genius. People need to find something in you that they can't see in themselves. So you need to inspire people. Give them a reason to believe in something.
So basically what I'm getting is you are like David. You just didn't become... did David become king? Yes. Wait.
King David.
This is awesome. David was just a shepherd boy.
Yeah, sure.
Wow. So basically you're saying you can't become, before you become king, first become a shepherd, tender for the sheep, fight those small battles before you now go and tell the king that now the king is the illiterate. So I tended the sheep, I killed the bear.
Yeah, by David killing Goliath, David gives people hope. David gives people a reason to believe in him. You cannot be led by somebody who you don't believe in. I must be able to do something that you cannot do for me to lead you.
But now, what about, yes, we believe in you and everything, but as you said, as Ruth said, politics is dirty.
Yes, there is the part of that in politics. And I said it. I remember about a year ago, a clip was played in MCCU, and I remember it was Dichi who took that clip. And in the interview that I had with the MCCU Tech, and I'm really happy because we're having this conversation almost a year after that, I talked about how dirty politics was. Because during that time, I had been involved in a few 1, 2, 3 cases, so I knew what it was. Because you get there and people start talking about things that don't exist. People would, for example, let me give an example. People would start saying that, you know what, Nguka is from economics, my SG is also from economics. So these people come up with an idea. 2 people get into a WhatsApp group, they form a WhatsApp group, then they start talking. One calls himself Washali, the other one calls himself Nguka. So not me, but somebody calls himself Nguka. And Washali is my SG, so somebody calls himself Washali. Then they start talking in a WhatsApp. Do you know what, Washali? These BA people, you know what, ni wajinga sana. These BA people, they don't deserve anything in this campus. Let's do this. Let us not have anyone from BA in our team. And these people, are they really brilliant? These people, no. Then they screenshot and they start sharing it everywhere. Somebody who doesn't know says that is Washali and Nguka conversing and saying how BA is bad, how these people are people who fail in high school. And you know what? These are the largest population in main campus. Even people who are in the Christian Union, first years would ask me, Nguka, what are you saying about us? You mean you think this about us? So I come from a point where I now need to tell people, you know what, guys, that wasn't me. And you know, false information sells faster than the truth. So it sells everywhere. And before that even is over, they come up with another scenario. And they say, you know what, the Christian Union had a fellowship midweek, and Nguka called BA students and economic students. Then after calling them, he sent BA students away, and he prayed for the economic students for all 3 hours. And
You also praying for people, the way I was praying for Form 1.
So I am there praying for economic students after sending away the BA students. So they are trying to create, they're trying to divide people. trying to create division. So that is the dirty politics. But then you're in the Christian Union and you can also now not react by playing dirty politics. So those are some of the challenges. Or they start claiming, our dean of students is somebody who is born again Christian. So they say, you know what, guys, we already have a pastor who is the dean of students.
And you don't need another
Nguka
pastor.
is in the Christian Union, we don't need a choir master. Kwani main campus ni kanisa. So
Kwani watu mnakuwa na shida gani watu wasiu? We are normal people. You can lead too.
and you're like, man, what are these? So that is what we can call it political persecution of Christians. Something of that kind. So those are some of the challenges we go through.
Before I give my colleagues a chance to ask a question, did you ever feel like being a Christian is disadvantaging you, or out here does being a Christian sort of disadvantage you such that apparently you cannot relate to some people, or apparently you are too holy and you will judge, you said you will be a choir master and every that. Did you ever at some point think this is inconveniencing me?
Literally, in politics, literally it does. Literally it does. But I do not want to see it in that way. Because allow me again take you, I love reading Barack Obama's books. There's a time that Barack had a pastor called Reverend Wright. Barack is a Christian. Many people think he's a Muslim. But he's a Christian, and the pastor was Reverend Wright. Reverend Wright was black. And he had seen the white injustice against the blacks. And he was so bitter. And there is a time that Reverend Wright made a speech about how the white people had made the black people suffer and all that. And it went viral. You know what people say? That Obama goes to that church. And since Reverend Wright believes in that, then that is what Obama believes in. You get it? So Obama doesn't like white people. He's only black, and he loves black people, and he believes white people are against black. So these people were trying to create division. So Obama had to come out and say, you know what, guys, I don't believe in that. But then we have to recognize where Reverend Wright is coming from. He might have suffered, that is why he's saying that. So the same story, I'm trying to relate with Obama's story. I am from the Christian family. I have never gone to a disco. I don't know how it looks like. You get it? Let me say,
Disco matanga.
well, disco matanga times you have to. Because you're at home, and when matanga is in your home, then you have to be there. You get it? But I can say more than a third of our population here goes to discos, and they go to raving and all that. And they're most people who are politically active, and you need to appeal to them. This person is coming from the church, and in the Christian Union, I was called bishop. So bishop is coming to lead us. And people are like, what? No.
We'll just be singing.
So I am forced to transform myself into, the way Paul says in the book of Corinthians, I think 1 Corinthians 9 from around verse 19. So he talks of forcing himself to be the people in order to win them and all that. So I'm forced to transform myself in a way that I am appealing to these people, and I can make them believe that I can also solve their problems. That a third of people, those are their problems. You see the way your problem perhaps is light in 844 and you need that light solved. That is their problem. And they need to see you as this person who can solve that problem. And that is the reason why you're seeing a person like, there's this bishop who was vying for president. What was his name?
Mwaure.
Why do you think Mwaure could not get as much votes, even more than Wajakoya? Wajakoya was promoting Bangi, and Wajakoya defeated Mwaure. It's because Mwaure tries to make his campaign in a way, structures his campaign in a way that he thinks he's only leading Christians. When you're a leader, you're not only leading Christians. You're leading Muslims, you're leading Christians, you're leading people who don't believe, you're leading
But
atheists.
how do you now stand for your faith and still, spread the gospel? Like, you don't denounce Christ to please people. Because at the end of the day, you're still born again. And you still, because now you cannot stay now, I want to go to church, I will leave CU, I will not pray, I will not be doing, those cliché. I want to go to cash and everything. But how did you still keep the faith strong and be like, you know what, people are using this against me, but I'm going to use that to build a better foundation? And also how you involved now God in the whole process.
So what you do is this. You do not come and say, guys, I'm going to outlaw alcohol. And since I'm a Christian, there will be no alcohol in this school. People will be like, okay, we have heard you, and that will be used against you all the campaign period.
So, Peter, thank you for sharing your story with us. Just let now the colleagues to ask.
Colleagues, we are podcasters.
Colleagues.
I'm not a colleague.
Okay, Peter, thank you for sharing with us your story. Becky, can go ahead with your question.
So the question is, Bana. Okay,
sawa. Kenga ama Ruth, nani ako ready?
Any?
Sawa. Ruth.
Okay, Nguka 2022 and Nguka 2023, what's the difference politically? Or not really politically, of course politically you've become a governor over that year, but how has it spilled over to your personal life?
If there's a change, just a little bit of change, because then I have to spend a lot of time doing my governor duties and all that. Morally, not a lot of change.
So you're still the same person as you are?
I am, unless you think otherwise.
So no one, okay, drip has changed, but no one should shy away, because you see, like, just looking at the society we have right now, someone becomes an MCA and woof, that's the end of it. You will tinted cars, they just become, something else. So like,
I get you.
Yeah.
I do come to the fellowships in the main campus Christian Union. I don't think I ever miss any unless I really have to. So it means that I still interact with people. I still find time for MCCU podcast.
Haujapanda bei
Sijapanda bei.
Okay.
It's still me.
Mm-hmm.
And you have served with me. Wow. You've served with me in the ASAP committee for the longest time. So.
Yeah. All right.
And how was it working with Nguka in the ASAP committee, and he was still a governor?
Let me tell you something. I was almost being appointed in the, what's it called? UN advisor. Is there something like advisor? Kiasi hivi. Kama angekuwa natoka, kama there was no change of power and going to another committee, hivi mngeniona navaa suti pia mimi. It was amazing, and it didn't feel like he's ditching us for politics. He was always there. I feel like he made me a better leader. Yeah.
Oh. Kenga,
Yeah.
what question do you have for Peter?
Actually, Peter, me, I would just ask you a simple thing. For you to become a governor in main campus, actually with the other campuses in Meona, main campus is like the hot seat around here. There's main ADD, engineering, Shiromo, but main campus is the hot seat. They say you have to bring something on the table. What is that big thing you are done for main campus, for the people of main campus to believe in you? Like, what was there on the table? What wanasema, I can even sell the table. What was there on top?
Thank you. A very important question. And perhaps before I answer, you've just remembered something. Are you guys familiar with the life of Martin Luther King Jr.?
The Black
I have
American.
a dream.
Yes, I have a dream.
I have a dream.
That's not the life. That's something, a speech.
Perhaps a speech, but perhaps you've read his books or listened to his speeches and all that. If you look at the life of Martin Luther King Jr., that guy went to a theological school. He was a pastor. He was leading a church. Get it? But then there is a time that comes that the black people are suffering. And then Martin Luther has to transform himself. he is to become a politician. And he has to sing to people as a people who represents all. You get it? So he doesn't ditch his church, because at times you get, though there's another pastor who comes on board to lead the church, but he doesn't ditch his church. But he becomes a politician, but he was a pastor. So there is not a big difference between the two. Somebody can still balance the two. Now, to answer the question of Kenga, what do I bring to the table? My campaign
Bible
had-
studies.
well, if you bring that, then you lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. My campaign.
Kumbe ni kubaya hiyo.
I love when
I know, right?
what has become open-minded. You bring that to the table, then you're not vying for MCCU chair. You're vying for the chair of main campus. And I told you, the people who are political active, most of them are not. They don't go to church, or even if they come to church, they just come to attend and they leave. Get it? Yeah. So you have to be a leader of everyone, not a leader of only the church people. So one of the things is that I have had one challenge. I was coming from the church, and some believe that I could only do church-related things. You get it? Number two, I had an ideology. My campaign had an ideology. My team was called Team Integrity. Then my ideology, my motto, something of that kind was integrity and transformation. You get it? So I was preaching the idea that, guys, our bursaries can go to the right people. We must not sell bursaries. You get it? We must not eat events money. You guys have seen that I have led in the Christian Union. I am not a different person. I believe in doing things the right way. And I will uphold integrity. That is what I was selling. That was my ideology. And I think that is what got me the votes. Yes.
So, Peter, to all aspiring leaders, and especially leaders who are coming from a Christian background, what will be your word of advice to them? And you could also share, in that journey of politics, I know there were a lot of times that you might have been tested, your character might have been tested, and you might there was a lot basically. What is that one thing that kept you grounded and that ilikushikilia, you didn't get to lose yourself?
I think to the people who are vying, and perhaps those who are part of the Christian Union, or those who are Christians, or those who believe, I think you should be able to package yourself as a leader for all. If you do a mistake of packaging yourself as a leader in the Christian Union, you will lose in the morning.
In the morning.
Mapema
ndio best.
Mapema, 5 a.m.
You are not vying to become the Christian Union chair. Forget that. You are vying to become a main campus governor, or perhaps to be part of a main campus team, so that everyone there should be able to see you as their leader. That person going to the clubs should be able to see you as their leader. Everyone. You get it? Because we have different people in the main campus. We have Muslims. As a governor, I've been able to attend, at times, activities organized by Muslims. And they know that I'm a Christian. You get it? But then I am their leader. So you have to be a leader of everyone. You don't refuse to go to a Muslim congregation because you know what? We are God and Christians, and that Bible verse about
Do not be unequally
yoked. And man, you know what? I shouldn't be there. No. You are a leader of everyone. And when you are vying for a political position, then you need to package yourself as that. When you have won a political seat, then you get to decide. You are the leader, then you get to decide on what you need to do or what you need not to do. You have a lot of options. When you are vying, you clearly do not have a lot of options. But when you are in that seat, you have a lot of options. Like I told you, organizing that freshers bash that perhaps Kairi didn't want me to talk about. When you have organized a freshers bash, then you have the control.
Sprite.
You have the control of what happens there. I remembered when I organized mine, when I was giving the introductory speech, when I was giving a speech, there are things that I talked about which people didn't like. But because of what I believe in, I had to talk about them because I am already elected and these are my people. They know what I believe in. In fact, I know there are some who are even surprised to see me in that freshers bash. But then I have to tell them, guys, this is not right. My freshers bash, I went mpaka 6 a.m. When I put it to go at 6 a.m., then a lot of things can happen in the night. You get it? Iliisha around 11:30, around 12. So then you have to moderate things. You get it? You don't deny them. If you deny them, they will stone you to death. You get it? You have to moderate things. You have to be a leader of everyone. But then when you start, you have to tell me, guys, you don't behave in a unruly way. We have CCTV cameras. You get the recordings of everything, and you've been the arm's way. You can get yourself expired. You try to control their actions. You get it? But you don't make them believe that you're not their leader. So you can still be that Christian leader and still be a governor also. Yes.
Wow, Peter, thank you for sharing your story. And I think a take home for all of us is that there is indeed a place for the Christians in politics. And I think we can now give our parting shots. The conversation has really been amazing. I don't know, Kenga, what you have thought about the whole conversation.
It's been a good conversation. Christians out there, there's still a chance for us in the field of politics. Let us not fear. Let us not see ourselves as like the ones who will be called, these are people of God and they cannot lead us. Actually, God wants us to be there so that we can do something for His sake. And in everything that we do, our governor said he had self-esteem issues. Let us believe in ourselves. Let us trust in ourselves. We can do this. So if you are a Christian out there who says just about to come, go, but begin with God first, of course, as He said.
Well, what I can say is, in all this, I'm getting that we should really do things Jesus' way. I believe Jesus is actually the greatest leader we have ever had, and if we follow his example, because there were times Jesus was hard, like when he was beating people in the temple, and then there were other times he was compassionate, and he knew he was the way Peter has said, he knew he was in the midst of everyone. There are Pharisees, there are people who are just there for money, there are hypocrites, and there are people who are genuine. So let's just do things the Jesus way. Let's just ask God for help and guidance when we find ourselves in leadership positions.
What I'd like to say is that if you feel you have a calling into the political space and you're coming from a Christian background or not, step up, believe in yourself, be grounded, let people know what you stand for. You don't have to be wavery, whatnot. Be bold, let people know what you stand for, and yeah.
Bolder and greater.
Yeah. And as we wind up, Peter, are we expected to see you in national politics? Kama, this is the end.
Well, not very soon, but I see a point where I might be able to get into that later in life. And of course, I want to wish Becky all the best. I know she's planning to get into student politics. I wish you all the best. And I think to the people out there, I believe that part of our listeners, perhaps I might want to confirm that from you, are main campus students. And I just want to say to them, thank you so much for believing in me. I did my very best. I hope it was up to your expectations. And may God bless you, darling.
Amen.
Amen.
Ama utatuambia the politicians wanatuambia ataenda kwa ground asikize. That's it, folks, for this week's episode of the MCCU Show Podcast. We always love when you guys join, watch, listen on all streaming platforms. We are so grateful. Thank you, guys. Please make sure to give us your comments. What do you think about the show? What kind of guests do you want to see? What kind of conversations do you want to see happening more over here? So, thank you. Till next week. Goodbye.
Bye.